What's up, guys? We are back with another wave of Super 7 Ultimates, and we're starting G.I. Joe Wave 2 with Flint. We've got two good guys, we got two bad guys this time around, and we're going to start with the good guys for a change. Now, we've got them here, of course, in our standard Ultimate style packaging. The G.I. Joe stuff all has pretty standard size figures so far. We still retain our trapezoidal shape, and of course we've got our slipcover. It's got this sort of, chromed, foiled out approach with the green camo for the good guys. Pop that slipcover off and you've got your figure there in the big window. He's got his dog tag nameplate down there on the bottom, and then the back of the package gives us that sort of computer readout that showcases some shots from the show. You've got a map, and then you've got an actual bio for Flint as part of like the computer readout. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Ultimates Flint. So we're back into G.I. Joe. And this wave is pretty interesting because there is one big thing that stands out as being very different this time around compared to Wave 1. And that's going to come down to paint. There is a decided lack of skin tone paint this time around, which is definitely affecting this wave in a negative way, basically, because 3 of the 4 figures have exposed skin, Flint being chief among them because he has mostly exposed arms, he's got a fully exposed face, and there's just not any paint on the skin itself, which is definitely going to be a sticking point. But we do have articulation to get through. Let's talk about that, see how well these guys move around. They are very similar to Wave 1, but there's also some differences compared to, like if we say compare Flint to Duke in terms of how certain things are put together. So we've got a head that can look up a slight bit. He can't really look down too much, but he does look down some. We've got good tilt. You've got rotation. Arms out at the shoulders. They rotate. We've got our bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow, but you get slightly better than 90. We've got hinges. We've got rotation at that wrist. We still have this weird non-functional ab crunch though. It just doesn't really do anything. There is a ball peg waist down here by the way it feels, but it doesn't do much more than rotate either. And then you're going to be a little bit hindered because of the suspender situation. But this crunch, I mean, I don't get why it's there. It seems to be unnecessary if it's not actually going to crunch. Legs only go out about this far. They kick forward all the way. They don't kick backwards. The knees are slightly different though. They sit much higher this time. I've kind of said that I think these figures kind of skew on the tall side, and I think a lot of that comes in their legs. Duke in particular, his knee cut was slightly lower than this, and it made for a limitation on range. It's still a single joint, but it's basically 90 degrees, so I'm happy with that. You do get a boot swivel down there, and then you've got your rocker, which is, that's super good. No problems there. And then we've got a really good hinge as well, despite the fact that we've got sculpted laces on these boots. They don't seem to get in the way. They don't catch on them or anything. So he's pretty similar. If you've got Wave 1, you basically know what to expect if you've messed around with, say Duke, for example. But there are still some challenges here for sure. I wish the heads had more range, and the situation at the stomach, the ab area definitely needs to change. There either needs to be no cut or the cut needs to work. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, there is some good here, but there's also some bad. And I've already kind of touched on most of it, and we'll get to that. But Flint is, he's kind of just like Duke in a different way, in my perspective. He is a generic army guy. There is nothing exciting for me, generally, about the Joe aspect of Joes. It's always Cobra. They always look cooler, and I really won't hear any arguments on that. They always look cooler, but I do like Flint's design, and I think in many ways, Super 7 did a pretty solid job here. The greens and the browns in particular are very bright, very vibrant, very saturated. They look animation-y, and that's obviously what we're going for. He's got his holster, he's got his big boots with the nice sculpted laces, which, that's a stupid little thing, but they actually look really good. And there's a nice hit of paint on those also. The camo is really clean and crisp. Whatever process was used to apply that was done really, really well. You've got your belt, your holster, you've got your suspenders. All of it is attached in one way or another, so it's not exactly something you're going to want to pop off, but it is not super tight in the sense that it really gets in the way of articulation. It's going to sort of hinder, that's going to sort of hinder the twist, but it's not so much that it's unrealistic because of that. And then we've got, the symbol on the side here is tampoed really well. You've also got it on the beret, but that's really clean, really crisp. He's got his gloves. And then we've got our exposed skin, and this is just a negative in pretty much every capacity. It's the big sticking point for me with this figure and with the two other, the female figures in this wave, when it comes to how they compare to Wave 1. And I kind of harped on Duke a lot in that particular wave because he has a fully painted head and face and forearms and hands. And I'm pretty sure I said if this is how the line is going to be going forward, then we have a winner here. But they went backwards with this particular wave. Now we are at unpainted plastic when it comes to the skin, and he's not super glossy. I know it's not the situation like we've seen with some of the past releases where it's unpainted flesh tones and they're super glossy. I'm not really having that issue with this guy. It's a very softness aspect of it. The paint for the eyes is just not great, and neither is the eyebrows. It's all very thin, and there's not much character or much life to it. It's really hard to make out some of the details on the face as well. I'm quite certain that the sculpt is there. I would be surprised if it's not, but there's no way in hell I could even begin to salvage this with paint myself. I couldn't do it, and I would never want to have somebody actually pay, to paint that. I feel like it should have come fully painted like Duke to give us all of that detail, because while that's not painted, of course the exposed chest is painted, and as a result, the skin tones there don't match. So we've also got that kind of a problem going on because, of course, the torso is green, so this hit of plastic in the neck is also green, and it has to be painted to cover it. So that's painted, but it goes up to a face that, ultimately just has no paint on it. There is paint for the eyebrows and the eyes, and it's there. It's okay at best, but it's not great, and it leaves a lot to be desired, especially when, you have something like, well, let's just do it like this, that is fully painted in every which way. There's detail through and through on the sculpt that is accentuated by some really nice animation-y style paint. It's very much a completely painted head compared to an almost completely unpainted head, which to me is going in the wrong direction here. But from the neck down, for the most part, I do think he looks pretty good. It's just that a lot of it is lost once you take it in as a whole because there is no paint on this face. Now, as far as some size comparisons go, let's start with other Ultimates. We got Flint in the middle, of course. We got Duke here on the left from Wave 1. This is also another instance of, demonstrating that skin tone difference. And then we've got Lion-O here. That's the LJN Lion-O. And you can see that I still kind of think that these guys are a little bit tall for what they are. They're normal humans, and they are taller than the Ultimates Lion-O. That doesn't really add up to me. Granted, not everything has to scale with everything, but it does seem to be kind of at odds with other Ultimates figures. Now let's move these guys aside. Here's a Masterverse. Here is Skeletor. So this is the, what is that? That's the SDCC one from last year. And then let's do a classified figure. I've just got Spirit handy here. And you can see, of course, they're not even close to the same scale. They're not supposed to be. And let's move Skeletor aside. Here's a Figuarts. Here's Turles, Dragon Ball Z. And then let's do one more. Let's do a Mythic Legions. So there is Atlas. So he's pretty much in line with normal 7-inch stuff. I still do think that the Joes are slightly tall for what they are within the confines of other Ultimates lines, but they're going to be all right. You can pretty much mash them into anything within the 7-inch scale. Now, as far as accessories goes, just like the rest of the Joes so far, Flint does come with a lot of accessories. He's got mostly generic army guy accessories because, that's how the Joes are. At least as far as, these kinds of Joes before we get into the more wacky characters. So he's got a decent spread, but some of it's stuff we've already got as well. So to start with, we get extra heads. We've got, this is the standard Stoic one on him in the box. We get this one, which is like the one we got with Duke, where he's got the headset on. You've got the beret still. He's got a slightly furrowed brow, a little bit of an angry expression. We still have, again, a decided lack of paint, no flesh tone paint. And then we have this head here, which is Flint, but he's sort of smiling. Same kind of situation. We're missing a lot of paint on this too. But you can also remove the beret on this one, and you can see his very finely groomed hair sculpt underneath that. And then, of course, if you want, you can have him holding the loose beret and using this head. Now, we've got some extra hands as well. To start with, we get a set of they're sort of like wide gripping hands. We've seen these before, I think with Snake Eyes and Duke as well, for some of the bigger accessories that we get, so just the wider gripping hands. You get a set of vertically hinged trigger finger hands. You get a a single left normal gripping hand with a vertical hinge. This is useful for some of the accessories he comes with. And then we get another left hand. That is the pointing finger hand, and I still very much enjoy getting these. We get some weaponry, of course. So we've got the sort of, laser pistol done up in some nice metallic paint on this one. So that looks really good. Happy with that. We get the standard issue Joe rifle. If you've got Wave 1, you've got a couple of these already. And then we get this really cool shotgun. I do like this. So this is unique. Unless somebody else in this wave comes with it and I haven't noticed yet, this is unique to FLINT. Black and gray paint on that. And then we get some like army gear, like army reconnaissance gear. He's got a backpack, so Duke has a backpack and so does he, but this is different. It's an entirely different sculpt. You've got some dynamite on there, some grenades, some nice metallic paint on those buckles, and then you've got like a canteen attached to it also. Of course, that's removable. You just, thread the arms through it and you're good. We get a shovel, which I don't remember why he would have this, but you have one. Again, Joe's is not my forte. When it comes to every little minute detail, you get the little periscope. We get a set of binoculars. And then we get the radio, walkie-talkie. We've got a couple of these in Wave 1 as well. But he also gets a goofy accessory, and this I'm happy with, just to have it, and also for him to get it, because it kind of beefs up what he comes with, and it doesn't make it all just, generic army stuff. We get the newspaper that has Cobra Commander delivering the State of the Empire address. I really, really like this. I mean, I plan to use it with Cobra Commander in particular, have him do something stupid with it, but this is the kind of thing I love to see in Ultimates, because this is useful, but it's also, a deep cut kind of a thing, very specific to the cartoon. And then, of course, it's a funny, goofy accessory. So he's got that as a little icing on the cake, but he still comes with a lot of stuff, just like the rest of this entire line so far. Tons and tons of different accessories, lots of different options, and then you get some goofy stuff and some stuff that maybe is a little bit more specific or unique to FLINT's loadout. So yeah, overall, FLINT is pretty good. In a general sense, I'm really happy with him. But there is the one big thing that is just looming over this wave, and it's this lack of paint on the flesh tones. We had such a really high standard set with that Duke figure. Duke wasn't even by any means my favorite figure in Wave 1, but I loved the aspect of getting all that paint on the face. And we've gone backwards with this wave, and that is unfortunate. Otherwise, it's very much normal Ultimates in terms of what you get as far as build, and then all these accessories, and it's another entry, of course, in the Cartoon Joe line, but we are definitely at a disadvantage with this particular figure when it comes to the paint aspect of things. I really wish that the arms and the face would have been fully painted. I think it would have absolutely elevated this figure into something much better. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super 7 Ultimates G.I. Joe Wave 2 FLINT. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.